Alright, guys, what's up? Vicious Syndicate here. I'm Jay Tonic here with Demigod, and on call we got.
Racy 591.
Doing at 27.
And Shoop. And we're here to review all the new cards in the new expansion of League of Explorers for Hearthstone. So we'll go in alphabetical order, and we'll start with this Ancient Shade. So it's a 4 mana 7/4. Not that durable, very strong, and it has a drawback. For those of you that don't know, the curse is basically it's similar to the Burrowing Mine card, where you draw it and you just instantly take the damage to your hero. And I'm assuming that you draw another card after that, similar to the Burrowing Mine.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about this guy?
Well, 7-4. 7's the magic number, right? That means you can get BGH. I think it's like a worse spell reaver.
I honestly think the only deck that card would ever be good in is Handlock. Here's why. It helps you get to more range earlier, assuming you draw it earlier. But other than that, even then, I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, it's a BGH target, but I don't think anyone's going to actually waste BGH on that card. Due to how many decks that would even run it, there's so many other threats that decks would worry about. So saying it's a BGH target, I don't think people really need to be concerned. It only has 4 defense, so as a result, I feel like people aren't going to waste the BGH on that one. It can be easily taken down by Patent Shredder. I personally don't think it's that good, and I don't think anyone should run it.
Yeah, I will say, like, as a headlock player, you're okay taking damage, but you're not okay taking large amounts of base damage at unexpected times.
Yep.
Like, Iron Juggernaut in Warrior, for the few people that met, was always visible playing against this headlock, and I can't imagine this being either.
Yep. The whole concept of being in control of your own health is super important. Handlock. It can't just be random like that. You need to know exactly when you're taking the damage, be able to predict it turns ahead of time, because it's so volatile. However, I do notice that throughout the set we'll see a lot of minions that are very strong that have 7 and higher attack points. So it seems that like you might be able to use this card to maybe bait out a BGH early on, so that your later threats will be safe. I mean, like Dwayne said, I don't know if you're really going to be BGHing this since it only has 4 health. It can get flame cannoned, but I don't know.
This card definitely has like a lot of weaknesses.
Definitely a lot of weaknesses.
Overall, 7/4 on turn 4, you can get killed by a Pilot Shredder, like Dwayne said.
Exactly.
There's so much things that could trade into this card, and it's probably not going to see play in competitive Hearthstone. Maybe someone will like make a fun deck to play around with it, but I don't think it's going to be in any decks, I guess.
All right, let's move on to the next guy here. We got Animated Armor. It's a mage card, and a 4/4/4, which basically if you have the same stats as your mana cost, it's considered average or playable. And the effect is definitely interesting. We haven't really seen something like this before. Your hero can only take 1 damage at a time.
I mean, yeah, it sounds good on paper, but at the same time, I'm just going to kill it and continually do damage. And taking out a 4/4, a 4 health minion isn't hard, especially on turn 4, going into turn 5. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's a card that gives Mage Hunter a better chance against Face Hunter because it's really inconvenient for a Face Hunter to deal with a 4 health minion due to like quick shot is 3 damage, bow is 3 damage.
Mhm.
And the Face Hunter is not going to win by just dealing 1 damage per turn, but against other decks, I mean, I guess since a lot of mages suffer with Face Hunters as it is, it's a good card for them to have against Face Hunters. But against other classes like Warrior, where they can just death fight it, it could be killed by Swipe, it could be killed easily by Pilot or Shredder once again, just straight into it. I don't think it will see that much play. Maybe people will test it out in the beginning, but I think once the meta calms down from the new cards, it won't be played.
I'm noticing a theme here regarding 4-drops and how they compare to Shredder.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
that's not what there is to say about this card.
You're not.
Yeah, it's too low impact. It's like there's no stickiness to it. Like Shredder drops a random 2-drop. Like other 4-drops that are being played do something more relevant. Like even Refreshment Vendor gains 4 health or has some type of decent battle cry or death rattle, and this is just very low impact. If you compare it to like something like refreshment vendor, because effectively it's gaining you health by having it things deal less damage. It's really not gonna gain you much more health than a refreshment vendor would, and it is almost like it has taunt, which makes it somewhat better because people are gonna deal with it before they attack your face, but
Yeah.
it's still just way too low impact.
Right.
Not to mention, I was gonna add on that. Not to mention, mages have far better four drops at the moment. They have water elemental, which is a 3/6, and it's so strong against warrior and all weapon classes. And I just don't see them dropping down a paladin Trevor for this.
Yeah, well, I think this would go into a more control-based deck to help stop damage because it's basically a 4/4 with taunt, but that's really not that good.
But why would a control mage deck need this card? I mean, freeze
It
mage.
wouldn't. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just trying to compare it to like it wouldn't go in an aggro deck. It would have to go into like a control deck,
Yeah.
but it still wouldn't be good. You effectively say it has taunt because of its effect, but at the same time you have that Booty Bay bodyguard wannabe that it has 4 manas and a 5/4 and actually has taunt.
Right.
So it's like it's just bad. They're low impact.
Just low impact.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it would only be in like a control style deck. So
Card blows, move on. Okay. So, alright, so let's go to Anubisath Sentinel. So this one is a 5 mana 4/4, but the Death Rattle is, according to Ben Brode, one of the strongest Death Rattles that they've printed ever. I don't know if it's better than Savannah Highmane and Sylvanas, but give a random friendly minion +3/+3. So you compare this to something like Dark Cultist, which gives only 3 health. Basically, it is one of the strongest buffs that a card, like a minion, gives another minion. And the fact that it's a Death Rattle makes it, relatively. It doesn't create another minion, so it's not like as sticky as like something like like the Harvest Golem or whatever. But
yeah.
the 3/3 is very strong for this mana cost, I think.
I feel like you're assuming that there'll be a minion on the board when it's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
5 for 4/4 is really really weak, and it has to have a. I think it would have to have a much stronger effect for it to be playable.
Okay.
So
So
the stats that it has, it'd be more viable as like a 5/5 or 6/6, but as a 4/4, I compare it to Dark Cultist, and that's 3 mana for a 3/4, which is actually good stats, and the effect is very similar.
right. But
So this gives you what, 4 extra points of stats?
3.
So that's
+3/+3.
right, but it also is a 4/4 instead of a 3/4. So in theory, that scales up linearly with cost. But in practice, like you test it. I actually think this card has some potential because like aggro decks have always had a 5-drop problem. And, like sort of an Asher Vapor is not a really impactful play on the board, just like the King's running out of fuel. I think it needs to be tested. I think the question is what sort of decks are you actually going to have a minion on the board on turn 5 when you play this?
Yeah.
Or like have outside immediately so you can't play a minion. But I think if it turns out that like the way games play out against those decks, this can stick and a minion can stick, then this is great.
yeah, it definitely has like a very specific deck type. Like you can't just throw it in a random, aggro deck and expect things to be okay.
I think like
Yeah.
probably in like a zoo deck it'd be okay. Like say you buff your egg or spiders. I mean, there's certain situations that +3/3 could be good, man. I just think the card is really slow, and there's other better 5-drops to be played in decks. So
Yeah, the 5-drop spot is always contested. Lotheb, Belchers, even Azure I think sometimes would be a better card than this. But I mean, you can't deny that 7/7 stats in theory for 5 mana is ridiculously good. So if you could pull it off, let's say you have a full board of stickies, hunt the creepers, eggs all over the place, maybe it'll be okay. But again, for 5 mana, kind of very expensive to do like a risky inclusion like that.
yep.
All right, let's move on to one of my favorite troll cards of the series, a paladin card called Anything Can Happen. Summon 7 Murlocs that died this game.
Great
I love
arena,
the name.
that's all.
I think this is a really specifically targeted Grand Crusader nerf, is what this is.
Yeah, Crusader nerf. All right,
There you
R.I.P. Any Casino Warriors. That's running that card. I mean, all right. Realistically, 10 mana, right? And any Murloc deck is not going to be even wanting to get to the point where you have 10 mana, right?
That's
Exactly.
a shit card.
Maybe they're introducing control paladin murlocs.
Control Paladin
No,
Murlocs.
they're not. They're really not.
Maybe in the future they'll prevent more murlocs that are control based.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
never know, dude.
imagine a world where you have Murloc Knight on 4, Nexus Champion Sarad on 5, you hero power, get a preparation from your Nexus Champion Sarad, and then you
Oh,
can get this out on
God.
7. You know what I mean?
You still have to have 6 more murlocs die in that game.
I
Bro,
mean-
if that happens, I'll donate you $100.
Alright, I'll keep that
so
in
the
mind,
purpose of
bro.
this card is to get Twitter and donate people $100. That's
Yeah,
great.
I'll try to keep that in mind.
I mean, it says anything can happen. So.
Anything, man, anything.
Yeah, dude, anything can happen. Doya.
I like the card art though.
Yeah,
It's
card-
fucking amazing.
Card art is pretty sick. Imagine the golden, little daggers
Holy
moving
shit.
around and stuff like that. So
So it's a cool card concept, but it should cost like 4 less mana.
Yeah.
No, that like it could cost like 8 and be maybe okay.
maybe. I mean, when Ben Brod was explaining it, he said, "Okay, this is a card that, wouldn't you like to have a bunch of reload after you spend all your Murlocs on turn 10 and you're still alive somehow?" Realistically, anybody that gets a Murloc deck to turn 10 has stabilized by then, so
Yeah.
I think it's safe to move on. Okay, this is a very interesting card. We might have some controversy here. So Archthief, Rafam, you get it for completing the 4th wing of the set, and it's a 9 mana 7/8 with Battlecry. Discover a powerful artifact. I'll just go ahead and say Discover because I think this is our first Discover card. Discover. It lets you choose between 3 cards. Typically, there's a larger pool of variety between the cards, but this specific card has only 3 certain artifacts that you can get. Let's see if I can pull them up here.
Yeah.
No, it's not on this one. Or is it? No, it's not on this. Oh, but yeah, we do have them. So here we have Mirror of Doom, which can either fill your board with 3/3 mummified zombies. I'm assuming that's just a vanilla 3/3 card.
Yep.
You have Timepiece of Horror, which deals 10 damage randomly split, which is similar to Avenging Wrath on a Paladin. And then we have Lantern of Power, which is the strongest buff card in the game, giving a minion +10/+10 stats. So again, you'll be able to choose between the 3 of these to put in your hand after you play the card, the 7/8 itself. So what do you guys think about this guy?
It's a worse version of Ysera.
Okay.
I think it has like the artifact cards that you can get from it. You can it's like you can choose based on your situation, so it could have some potential. Like you could have some decks could have a reason to play over Ysera.
Which does. Control Warrior wouldn't play it over Ysera, because let's be honest. Like, I don't see how this is any good in any matchup where you need 3/3s to flood the board would be early game, and you'd have to play this on turn 10.
But there's certain classes just can't deal with 3/3s, like a Druid or something like that, you know?
But
Yeah.
but that's on turn 10. If on turn 10 they're not looking good to kill you by then, well then they have combo and none of your creatures have taunts. So it's not going to affect you against Druid. If it lasts that long, they're just going to lose anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if I see it?
Realistically, it's probably worse than most of the 9-drops that we have in most decks already.
Not to mention this could be BTA.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you guys.
I don't think you would run it over Ysera. I think you'd
I'll
run
give
it
you my-
Ysera.
You run it with you, Sarah?
Yeah.
That would be well, and top and legendary would you cut for it?
This is a better Nefarian, if you guys think about it. A more consistent Nefarian. Yes.
Yeah,
I think
I
it
think
could
that's-
be better than Nefarian.
I don't think it's better than Nefarian.
Well,
Nefarian at least doesn't cost me a whole turn. And
But-
let's consider the other 2 effects. The 10/10, that's assuming you have a minion on board. And
That would be like a game ender, though. That would be like having an extra Grom to some degree.
And
Yeah.
I have a question. What class, if the class that would play this would be Warrior, anyone's gonna disagree. You're not gonna play this in priest.
I'll play it in mid-range shaman.
Hey, mid-range shaman boys.
Yeah, like because shaman is lacking some power drops, and Doctor Boom is a power drop. I used to put Onyxia in my mid-range shaman to get my board back, and I studied like mid-range shaman a lot because usually, you know, when you lose the board, you lose the game basically, and having all these 3/3s come back, it could help. It's just a thought in mind. I think this card is actually really good. People can say it's BJH target, but you're gonna have so much BJH targets before this
Pretty
that it's
much.
probably not gonna even matter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Not really. This
too.
is the thing. You're gonna have to take out a BGH target you'd already have for this card, or that's gonna be way too greedy and get destroyed in our aggro meta. So I disagree.
The meta could change
Okay.
though.
There's no card in this series that's gonna change the meta. I'm sorry.
I think there could be.
What
It-
card?
you
One
never,
of the future metas.
you never
Like the
know.
metas will change eventually.
Yeah.
Like Secret Paladin, you know.
This card has no effect on Secret Paladin. A Secret Paladin will kill you by this turn.
No, I mean Secret Paladin was a deck that kind of came out. Nobody really expected it, and it sort of, I wouldn't say it changed the meta, but it definitely impacted the meta at all, like in a big way. So you never know. There might be like some new archetype of deck that will change the meta. But basically, I think
In
that
the future.
like you said, it's a worse version of Ysera. But the fact that Ysera gives you a random card, the fact that Nefarian gives you a random card, that this might be a little bit more consistent and more tailored to the situation.
Yep.
If you get to the point where you're playing that card anyway, but
I just have a question. When would you be able to play any of these except to give a minion plus three more with 3/3s?
Game
Dude,
Ender.
3/3s are
You
crazy.
never, if someone uses Lantern of Power, I will give them $50.
okay, somebody's gonna make a lot of money off of
People
Dwayne in this
lot
set. Let's move on to the next card. This is actually my favorite card, and it's actually Cora's favorite card too. I was talking to her a little earlier. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make the Skype call tonight, but Brand Barnesbeard is a 3-mana 2/4 legendary, and it says that your battle cry is triggered twice. So the stats on it are the same as Flamewaker, and Gang Boss or whatever. Not the best, but the effect is pretty ridiculous.
Okay, okay. Like on paper, I know. Oh, hey, it sounds really good. But think about it this way: what turn 4 battle cries do you really care about, except Defender of Argus? And if it's Defender of Argus, is it gonna let you choose, or is it just gonna be the same and you just double taunt? Because think about it: what turn 4 battle cries are there really, except for Mech Mage?
I mean, I see a comment from LBYS saying Milrogue buff.
Milrogue buff.
It could be a thing. You
picture-
don't know.
Coldlight Oracle, Shadow Step, Coldlight Oracle.
Oh my god.
If a
Mhm.
rogue, oh yeah, Mill Rogue.
Yep.
I don't know, I feel like this card sounds good on paper, but it will never see. Like people will test it, but it's just not that good because it will get killed by turn 5. And even like for the turn 5 battle cries, like what turn relative? Okay, I get to double, but the person's already not able, so he gets 10 cards off of spells. Okay. Does that really make it like I don't really care? Like at that point on turn 5 if someone drops relative, I'm probably already in a point where I can't play my spells,
Okay.
except can't play execute as a control warrior or shield slam.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you would play this on turn 3, like some of the time.
But why would you play it over endgame? And what class?
Like maybe for a really
It'd be
strong
very-
heal turn, you
I
know.
think a control deck
For a
would actually play
Varian?
this, let's be honest.
So you play it on turn 9 and expect it to live in a warrior?
Oh.
I feel like turn 9 warrior has so many better plays.
I think Dwayne, I think you're thinking too critically. This
I'm
is
thinking that it's not
no.
good.
I'm not thinking too critically.
Okay. So the point of this is not necessarily.
Oh, hold on.
Wait, what
just
happened? The fuck?
You there?
Check Skype.
Good. Oh, on hold. Hello?
Why is the call on hold?
Don't know. Hold on. You called.
What the fuck?
Hello?
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
Okay, what's
cool,
up?
cool.
I think they.
I'm back.
Okay, so like this card, it could be
Which card?
the battle
Brand's
cry one.
Bronzebeard.
It could be good in the future with like
Mhm.
combos that end up coming out in future sets.
But check this out. Use this
Because if
card,
there's actually
double
something
BGH.
Double BGH,
That's
bro.
a double BGH combo.
Well, okay,
That
but you guys are
said it
thinking.
goes on the same target, so
Like-
you just select the same creature twice.
Oh, okay.
I
You're
know.
also no,
That's
Dwayne.
awesome.
You're thinking too narrow-mindedly.
People are
You're
gonna
thinking.
have 2 7 drops on the board. Once is that I've never seen that happen.
Oh my god.
Okay, guys.
Wait, let me get this
Familiar
straight.
with This deck called
Let me get this
Handlock
straight.
sometimes has more than one
Oh
creature.
yeah, handlock. So will you be able to so you can play 2 BGHs on 2 Moltons? Cool. And then I just summon Mode your access and kill you. Awesome.
No,
Like,
okay, you're thinking too narrow-minded.
You're not gonna play this on turn 3 for like
You
value.
play it
You know
on
what I
turn
mean?
7 over Dr. Boom.
I mean, if
okay.
you have to use this against aggro, it's not that bad. Like, you know, depends on the matchup, but this card is for later turns to combo it. I mean, I don't know if you can like double BGH, but I think you could. But let me get this straight, guys. There is no card like this in Hearthstone right now.
That's
so
true.
anything can happen with this card.
Yep, exactly. You
The
gotta
only
keep it
card
in mind.
comparable is Baron Rivendare, and that does see some play. Even if it's not highly competitive, this card will see play at some point in the future with its effects. Like you're thinking too narrow-mindedly, and you're thinking of what deck is it good in the tier 1 right now.
I'm not
That's not how
thinking
you
tier
should be-
1. I'm not thinking tier 1. I'm looking at all decks across the board.
Then you
I don't
have
believe
immediately
I don't
go to
believe-
Mill Rogue, and you immediately go to things like Mill Rogue. But there's also future cards that could exist that could have battle cries that this could combo with.
No, okay, for
Could be good.
I don't know.
It's not that good.
I'm just excited about this card. Okay,
Yeah.
there's no card like it, and it opens up some new possibilities to the meta and Hearthstone itself. So there you go.
Yeah, like okay, look at Warsong Commander. Like that card is absolutely terrible until they print something like Grim Patron. This card is not exactly the same, but it's like a similar line of thought where it's not great until they print something that it's great with.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. You know,
Yeah. Let's move on.
this card is very fun though. So that's
Yeah.
all I gotta say.
We could actually keep talking about this card probably for another half an hour or more, just because there's a lot of argument. But for the sake of time, let's move on to Cursed Blade. Okay, this is
Fuck
definitely
this
gonna
card.
be this is definitely gonna be one for the book. So it's a 1 mana weapon. So besides Light's Justice, it's the only one, right? And it does it's a 2/3, ridiculously strong, but double all damage dealt to your hero.
The card
So-
is terrible.
For you guys that don't recognize, it does count on your opponent's turn as well. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this guy?
I think it has a lot of potential in future aggro decks. It's basically a 1 mana deals 6 damage in some form of the
Yeah.
6.
Yay!
Oh.
I can deal 6 damage against aggro mirror cards, and they get to kill me in 3 turns. That's fucking awesome. Hunter hero power does 4 damage every turn. I'm not gonna play minions in a hunter anymore. I'm just gonna hero power you for the first 3 turns.
Pretty much.
Yes,
I
but
mean,
okay, it's
If you
not good against.
if you actually do hero power me for the first 3 turns, I could hero power, and then we're each taking 2 damage a turn. I think, like, if you play this on turn 1, it can go face, and then you can play minions and be clearing off your opponent's creatures. Like, in the same way that, like, Coin Fire War.
No, but this is the thing. If you're clearing off opponent's minions with this, you're taking double the damage. So if you kill a mad scientist with this, you're taking 4 damage again.
Yep.
If
I
you're
mean-
going against shielded and mini bot, you're taking 8 damage from this card.
You're not gonna do that though. It's just gonna go face
What if
most of
you're
the time.
what if you're
not gonna
going
use
against-
the clear minions?
What if you think if you're going against like a zoo or something like that? You know, they put down like a flame imp into a knife juggler or something like that.
Yeah.
Use 2 of your charges and you're taking 12 points of damage by turn 3.
I think I'm fine with that if it's.
This is a roll
it's gonna
card,
be
right?
Board control.
Oh, this is a warrior card?
I think this is a warrior card.
I don't think so.
Or-
Is it a neutral card?
No, you
No, it
can't
can't
have
be
neutral
neutral.
weapons. I'm not sure actually. That's a good.
Are you sure it's not neutral?
Definitely not neutral. You
How
you
can
can't
you-
have. There's no such thing as neutral weapon. But I think it's a warrior card. That's what I.
It's a warrior card.
Yep.
It's a warrior card.
All right.
This is a very interesting line of weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, War Axe is War
I
Axe, and
think
War Axe
I
usually
think
does the
it's
job.
bad because they get outclassed by Fiery War, but
Alright, let's just
there's a
skip.
small chance it could be playable.
Yeah,
That's
You
about it.
like also you would run 4 or 5 wax if you could.
yeah.
Yes. True.
Yeah, and then plus you have Bash now, Shield Block. There's ridiculous amounts of health gain for warriors, such that, and Control Warrior specifically is one of those decks where you don't really care about
Is
your
this a
life
Hunter
total
card?
at all
Dude, I'm
for a
confused.
long
No, it's a
time.
warrior card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
warrior card for sure.
as a warrior card, Cursed Blade is just terrible.
Yeah,
Wait, this is not a no. It can't be neutral
no, it's definitely a warrior card.
because I see
It's a
Harrison
warrior
saying neutral.
No,
If this is neutral, this is big.
no, they
Like that's
wouldn't.
the first neutral weapon. I don't think they have that.
They wouldn't do
It's
that.
impossible.
I think they would make a big deal on it if they had. Do we want to move on?
Yeah, we should move on.
Okay. So, yep, Curse of Rafam. It's a warlock card that says give your opponent a cursed card. While they hold it, they take 2 damage on their turn. Basically, the cursed card is a 2 mana card that when you play it, it gets rid of it. So, keep in mind that it does take your opponent 2 mana to just discard it from their hand. So, what do you guys think about this gun?
It seems really weird.
Yeah.
I guess they might take 2 to 6 damage from it if they're like an aggro deck and they'd rather just play creatures. But at that point, if they're an aggro deck, you're spending your turn 2 and not clearing their creatures and playing a card that's going to deal damage to them when the damage won't matter.
Mm-hmm. It is also one of the only like damage per turn cards in the game right now, besides Baron Geddon. It's like I kind of like from like a WoW point of view. You have those Affliction Warlocks that just load you up with dots. That's sort of the thing that I thought about with this deck. I mean, with this card, but it's like it's also a tempo. Sort of like you're trying to stop your opponent's tempo by making them utilize 2 mana on something that they shouldn't even be worrying about, or they ignore it and they could take ridiculous amounts of damage from it. Like who knows,
I think this remember Chalky's old aggro zoo? I think this could be valid with that kind of archetype. The other thing about this that I think some people brought up is this beats Freeze Mage because you pop level less than 2 and they take 2 damage.
Yeah, and it's guaranteed 2 damage, right? I'm pretty sure they take it at the start of their turn. So at worst, absolute worst, it's to deal 2 damage to face for 2 mana, which is pretty terrible. But if it can go on.
It's not horrible. It's not horrible.
So ideally, how many turns would you want to get value off of this card to make it worth it?
Probably 3.
Depends on the matchup.
I mean, I'll honestly run one of this card because as a warlock, we struggle so much against Freeze Mage as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll run one of this just because Freeze Mage is, because I play a lot of Zoo Warlock. That's my worst matchup. I almost auto-concede when I play Freeze Mage sometimes.
Yeah.
If I have a way to legitimately break the barrier just for 1 turn, I'm sure a lot of people would. I think it's, especially with Freeze Mage coming back to the meta so strong, I think it's definitely a card that all decks should run at least one of who have trouble with Freeze Mage.
Okay.
I mean, Warlocks.
That's an interesting point too.
Would it ever be have a place in Handlock?
Well, Handlock struggles against Freeze Mage somewhat as well.
I disagree. I think
Really?
It's 50-50.
I don't think it's a 50-50 at all. How? They keep you out of Molten Ridge most of the game. B, they freeze your board. Not how are you dealing damage to them? You don't have a single OTK where they can't just freeze you.
You don't have an OTK, but you do have a board that's hard to clear. You have 8/8s and 4/9s. You have owls for the doomsayers. You need to just deal enough damage with blizzards and fighting strikes to actually.
But this is the thing: you're constantly tapping. Even if you don't tap, they Alex you, and turn 10 they kill you. You have even if you heal bot, okay, they get massive. You guys have so much trouble dealing with Antonitis if you don't have board already.
Yeah.
True access, Morganis.
True access,
Morganis. Got
Morganis is a great card in this matchup, and I've run variants that cut a Watcher for left end, cut an Owl for left end, cut a Coil for left end. I think it's around 50-50.
It's around 50-50 if you're attacking your deck against Freeze Mage.
I don't think you pick it more than Letheb, I think it's maybe 55-45 to without Letheb.
I like the card design overall.
Yeah.
You know, adds a different dimension.
Yeah, it's a new
And-
mechanic.
And yeah, new mechanic in Warlock. Possibly maybe down the road we can see I like to call infiltrate decks where you pretty
Nice.
much kill them from within their deck,
Right.
and rather than just people killing people with minions, you kill them by
So
them drawing and shit.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool.
keep in mind it does give a card in your opponent's hand, so it's like a mill effect as well, and you can run 2 of them. So imagine double curse and your opponent's struggling to flood the board or deal with it. It could somehow get crazy. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Moving on to Dark Peddler. This is actually one of my favorite cards of the set. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with a battle cry Discover, a 1-cost card. So I see this as being a buff to Zoo for the 3 slot, because right now, realistically, In-Gang Boss is the only good 3-drop, right? But if you put this card down and let's say you discover a Flame Imp or something like that, even a Zombie Chow or there's very few 1-cost cards that you wouldn't want to play with this card. I think. I don't know. I definitely think that it could work its way in Zoo. What do you guys
I
think?
don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, but the problem is we already have 8 2-drops, 7 2-drops.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't really think we need another 2-drop, to be honest, to get in. Turn 3 generally just Imp Gang Boss, or we could set up a Juggler with Egg. I feel like Zoo has so many combos for turn 3, we don't really need a card that gives us a 1-drop. Because we could have potentially, even with some people running Argent Squires, have 6 1-drops already. And 7 2-drops. I just feel like we don't need another 2-drop.
Yeah, I don't see it as a 2-drop though. I mean, it could be, but I definitely see it more as a 3-drop to fill out the curve. That's also what Ben Brode said, is that it was like a curve filler type
But
card.
we don't have a problem. Zoo generally doesn't have a problem with turn 3, even if it's tap 1 card.
Yeah.
Which is something we like to do anyways.
Right.
It's definitely playable though.
Yeah.
I think when cards increase your whole deck, let's say Neptune, it gives you 4 extra cards.
Yeah.
So whenever a card gives you extra cards, that's kind of big. So you can use them instead of your normal card.
Right.
I mean, it can test Knife Juggler and
Yeah.
most 2-drops.
And keep in mind that a lot of it gives you card classes, class cards as well. So it will discover Void Walkers and Flame Imps. I think pretty often, which would be really OP. I don't think that the value of adding a card into your deck is as important in Zoo, where typically you don't run into fatigue. But it definitely is something to keep in mind. It's not like it's pulling it from your deck but
It could also be played in more. We could see more mid-rangey type Warlock decks that he could pull something like a Mortal Coil or something, which wouldn't be bad.
Oh, right. It's a 1-cost card.
Yeah, so it could be a spell too.
Oh.
See, I was just thinking minions for a little bit because I was
me
kind of
too,
blind,
me
but
But
It
that's
could
pretty
be
cool.
power overwhelming as well, which
Yeah,
could
that would be
really
great.
strong.
Even a Soulfire could be, you could play this and discover, a reach for 4 that you didn't know, and you win the game or something,
Yeah.
That's
But,
actually very
has
interesting.
uses in we could see new types of mid-rangey warlocks, not necessarily Zoo per se,
Okay.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it's just a decent card.
Yep.
In general, so
Very
I
interesting.
think it will see some play.
Also, discovering cards, especially random trash cards, could be interesting in if there's ever a discard archetype of deck of Warlock, where you use a lot of Fist of Draxus and Doomguards and stuff like that. You kind of want to fill your hand with trashy cards to discard, maybe. I don't know. I thought.
This card in Handlock is an anti-aggro type. Okay.
You like that card as in Handlock?
That's what 00 says in chat. In Handlock as an anti-aggro tech.
Okay.
Interesting.
I guess.
It sounds really. It's an interesting way. It's like a weirder dark bomb that doesn't exactly take effect right away, but it will still trade with like shitty 1 drops and 2 drops
Right.
most of the time.
Yep. And I think that the swarm mechanic, I mean the swarm archetype of just flooding the board with stuff. We'll see later on a card, a 1 drop minion that would benefit from that. I always kind of wanted that to be a thing, you know, even though it gets more, it's a high risk to AOE spells. It's just a fun mechanic of just like flooding the board, overrunning your opponent, and especially in like something like Zoo where you have a lot of um, buffers. Could be cool.
But it's still hard to get 6 minions on the board for that card.
Oh
Or
yeah,
5 minions.
we'll get to that one. You can rage when we get to that. Let's go to Dart Trap for now.
We're only on 10 now.
Right, it's taking forever.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
it's great. It's great. All right, so Dart Trap, right? Secret. When an opposing hero power is used, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. I have a pretty. I actually really like this card. I think that typically, if you're testing out for secrets, you're going to be using your hero power more often than not to see what's going on. You know, especially as a druid or like like a rogue or something, you want to like poke in to trigger a trap first, and this might actually end up punishing you for doing that,
Exactly.
which just introduces a whole nother level of mind games, which I think they were trying to do with the bear trap situation.
Yeah.
Right. So like at this
I
point, like how do you even know what trap is going on?
Fudge.
Yeah, imagine if you just play like one of every trap. It's actually impossible to do stuff correctly.
Exactly.
It could be anything.
Literally
So
impossible.
it's very interesting. It might not be that great if people actually start playing it and it becomes popular because people will play around it.
Right.
But it's good in a meta where people don't expect it. It's
Exactly.
kind of like bear trap, like how people don't expect it sometimes and they just play into it.
I don't think it's a bad card. It's one of the few cards that we've seen that I don't think is complete shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel
5 damage for
when
2
people
is
get
not
used to
bad.
playing around it, it'll be pretty easy to play around, and I don't think it's gonna save Hunter. Because like if in other aggro matches, it could hit face or it could just hit a leper gnome and just hit useless
That's true.
cards, or
That's
it could hit a mad scientist. I
Good
don't think
point.
anyone's gonna really care if you did 5 damage to a mad scientist. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Against a tempo mage, it hits a mirror image.
it's just another annoying ass secret to play around.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like
Fuck.
I don't know.
Exactly. You're probably gonna get it for free from your mad scientist, anyways. You know, if it's in your. But who knows? I mean, we'll see if there's gonna be like a one of each secret hunter archetype. You know,
Oh my god.
you never know.
If they make a mysterious challenger
Oh my
hunter
God.
card, I am gonna quit Hearthstone. That's gonna be so annoying.
Christmas tree hunters,
Good
new
God.
meta.
I feel like people are just gonna start like if it becomes really that big of an issue every deck, just like a few months back when the meta was controlled by like mid-range hunter and tempo mage, and everyone was just taking in Kazan Mystic. I think that's just what's gonna happen.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe it's gonna be a new thing. Let's move on to the next one for now. Desert Camel. All right. So
Interesting.
another 3 mana 2/4, but this one is it puts a 1 cost minion from each deck into the battlefield. So first of all, you have to have it still in your deck, so you can't have already played it. And you have to have 1 cost in your deck. So as a hunter, you're gonna have 1 cost, obviously, right? But if you're going against like a handlock or something, you know, or like a freeze mage or whatever, you just end up getting a straight up advantage. But even if you do get that advantage, how strong is it?
I think
Depends
it's
on the
very interesting.
Depends on the one drops you run in your deck. As a warlock, if you give your opponent, you play that card and you're playing a zoo warlock and they get a flaming, you're gonna be really salty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't actually think you will be because you'll probably still just get a leper gnome or something, which is going to be able to trade with it.
No, but you can't trade that turn, so they're gonna do 3 damage to you.
Yeah, but this is also a beast, so it has really good beast synergy as well, and the stats aren't horrible.
That's true. It is a
What
beast.
turn is this?
That's true.
Turn 3.
Turn 3.
Yeah, turn
As a
3.
hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's fine. You'll find more. It'll be a more mid-rangey hunter card
Mhm.
than an aggro hunter.
Right. Or a hybrid maybe. But yeah, keep in mind that your minion will likely not be able to attack since it just entered in the battlefield unless it has charge. And
But this is the thing, in a mid-range deck, unless you're running hybrid, you don't run leper now.
You could though. They could start doing that
Yeah.
just for this.
Then it
card.
wouldn't be. Then they're gonna take out something high end, and it's no longer gonna be a mid-range card deck.
If we could start to see different type of mid-range decks,
You mean
though.
it's just gonna be a hybrid deck that
And-
already exists.
And I mean, this doesn't say deal damage at all on it, right? So it's like
Nope.
it's bad, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. I honestly don't think it's.
I don't know.
I
I, think
really
this
don't
card
think
could be
it's good.
playable. I think
Yeah.
it could be playable.
2-4
I like it. I like it in mid range.
mid-range.
We'll see. I mean, like besides Animal Companion, you know,
What else 3-drop does Hunter have? I mean,
Eagle Horn
it's
Bow.
consistent. Like,
often
Eagle Horn Bow is really good.
Yeah, but it's not a
Oh.
beast. Like we could start to see more beast hunters type things.
yeah.
happen.
And if you buff this
It can
with Houndmaster, you know, it's OP.
4-6.
And it can also be any one drop. So you could even do cheeky things like play dragon, like young Dragonhawk or something, and try to get like the dream.
A
Like you could do crazy things with cards that have effects like this.
right.
Or you could do something like a shield bearer that protects your creatures.
Like ideally, you'd like to think of it as a like let's say if you add the average, you know, 3 stats that you get from a 1-cost minion, then this would be a 3 mana. Put what is it? 6 plus 3, so 9. Is that 9 stats into the field at once?
Okay.
And you know, it could be crazy.
You know what? I'm just excited for all these cars in general because they're faster than TGT.
Yeah.
Like the Inspire mechanic. Okay, sorry, I'm veering off right now, but
That's
I
cool.
think these cards are actually gonna make a bigger impact than TGT itself. Like,
Okay.
look at all these wonderful cards, man. Like, they're gonna do some damage to the man. I think.
Let's see. Apparently, Dwayne doesn't think so, but
I think that's a complete fucking joke, but prove me wrong.
Yo, another $100, right? $100 from Dwayne
Right,
if this
you could-
becomes the standard.
Meta?
Think about this though. You could also do a late game and have only like something like Timberwolf in your deck, and then combo that with Unleash
Yep.
too.
That's
So it could
crazy,
be like
dude.
another way to find Timberwolf.
God, that's a pretty big RNG. Hoping that's the only card in your deck. God.
No, you make it the only one
How-
drop in your
how
deck.
do you make it the only one drop in your deck, and then you draw it early game.
No, you have 2. You're probably not going to draw both of them.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
This
Well,
is
you'd-
Hearthstone.
you'd
I
roll
would
like
make
it
that
anyway.
type of prediction.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next
You're
one.
too cynical, my friend.
So we got Genie of Zephyrs, and it's a 5 mana 4/6. Whenever you cast a spell on a friendly minion, cast a copy of it on this one. So it's trying to encourage a buff style of archetype deck. Cora was talking to her a little bit earlier, and she said that she'd love to test this out in Priest. And things like Power Word Shield will give you 2 draws, for example, since it costs a whole
Holy
nother
shit.
card on it. You know, imagine like a Velen's Chosen or something like that. It'll make it BGHable, obviously, but it could really get out of hand. What do you guys think?
Great Shadow Flame Shift synergy.
Yep.
I think it could be a very interesting card and we could see some very fun decks with it, but I don't think it'll be super competitive. It seems really slow.
It does seem slow. I mean, 4/6 isn't like that high impact for 5 mana. It's not the worst either, but like let's say somebody like, you put this in a combo lock, you ignore it, and then you get like 2 Power Overwhelmings on it or something like that. Could be crazy.
So yeah, like I said, it could be a very fun card for sure. And it could see some fringe play.
Anybody see this card being played in something besides Priest?
I mean, like you said, it could be played in Warlock as a combo card. It could be. I don't really know what else could be played in it. Maybe Paladin, but with like Blessing of Might and
Yeah, that's true.
the card that like draws you a card and stuff like that. But I don't think it'll be super competitive. It'll be fun though.
Right. I mean, but compared to the Dragon Sorceress, I think Dragonkin Sorceress, where you gain
Yeah.
just +1/1 when you get targeted by a spell. This is just so much more rewarding for taking advantage of the effect. Even something like
Yeah.
those sisters, the Angel Sisters that give you a Divine Shield or 3 damage, those are relatively low impact as well, I think.
Okay.
So, you know, this is like pretty much the strongest buff minion in the game at the moment. So
All right.
It's certainly an interesting card. Right.
interesting. This was an interesting card too. Eerie Statue, basically Ancient Watcher 2.0, right? A 4-mana 7/7 can't attack unless it's the only minion on the battlefield.
That's really interesting. Like, maybe you could make like a control deck where that's the only creature you have early game, and it could be just a huge threat when you play it.
Only minion on the battlefield,
Yeah.
not that you have on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When is this ever gonna happen? Except in a Warrior Mirror match.
Like,
Five
exactly,
to four.
something like that. It's going to be fringe. Like, it could be good in Control Warrior against other control decks. And, like, against things like Handlock, you could just remove their 1 threat per turn and swing in with it
But how
I
are you
don't
gonna
know.
move the 1 threat per turn?
with your removal. I don't know.
Oh, on turn 4? On turn 4 you have to play it. They could just play multiple.
Wailing Soldier would.
Yeah. Or what about like a rogue where you can sap, or something with cheap removal. Warrior as well. Shield slams and executes. You'll be able to, I don't know, easily clear the board. But I think it would be used in a similar way as Ancient Watcher, whereas like it's a 4-mana. But if you do get a taunt on it or a silence on it, it could kind of spiral. Like
Yeah.
just owl it next turn and you have a 7/7.
Yeah. We could start to see Ancient Watcher be played with this card in some type of cheeky, what's that card
Wailing
called?
Souls.
The Wailing Soul deck.
Dude.
Wailing Soul, boys.
Wailing Soul
Like-
boys.
See,
I don't know, it seems like it gets a lot better, like Wailing Soul in general with cards like this.
Wailing
Those decks do
Soldier.
so well.
I mean, they might not be tier 1, but they could be a thing to test out and try for fun.
I
Yeah.
just want to say that Mech Mage is a tier 3 deck, and I don't believe in tiers because until people stop doing tiers like shit, I won't believe in tiers in this game.
Okay.
I'm not talking about cards in any tier perspective. I'm talking about the card in just any deck. It's half decent. It's not complete shit like other cards,
hmm
but like I was saying in a Wailing Soul deck, like there needs to be a lot more cards before you're gonna say this card is gonna be good in that deck. That deck is pretty shit as it is. It just gets people by surprise.
I guess. But like, what if you get like a Coghammer to land on this or something? Like there's gonna be those like weird
There's
gimmicky
little
decks that
weird,
like
yeah.
you'll be able to just take advantage of it. And again, like if you use your BGH on this, then what are you gonna do when they drop Boom later or whatever?
It's a
Yeah.
very interesting 4-drop.
Interesting 4-drop for sure. Typically, though, I mean, like on the 4-drop, you're always gonna. It's a very high impact turn, right? It a lot of times dictates what's gonna happen for the next couple of turns, whether or not like the state of the board. And since this doesn't impact it at all immediately, it's like you kind of have to be ahead already to play it and get efficiency. So we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, the Golden Monkey card, guys. Golden Monkey boys. We got a 4-mana 3/5, a shitty Ortez Dingo with Battle Cry. Shuffle the map to the Golden Monkey in your deck, which puts a random map in the middle of your deck. Which, if you happen to draw it, it's a 2-mana cycle that draws you a card and puts a Golden Monkey in your deck. And the Golden Monkey is a 4-mana 6/6, I believe. I don't know if you guys can correct me.
Yep.
4-mana 6/6 that makes the rest of your hand and your deck full of random legendary minions.
I'm sure people in Arena will love that card, but it's absolute shit.
I think the monkey also has taunt as well.
What's
But
that? Oh,
I was
the monkey has
talking to
taunt?
Nias a lot about this card, and we were like thinking of like grinder mage type decks that this
Right.
could like just end the game after you have your secret set up and the board clear.
I'm
Mhm.
Or
pretty sure Nice
Control
thinks this card is
Warrior.
complete shit.
Yeah, but we were just thinking of ways that it could actually be played, even if it's not tier 1.
Right.
How many times do I have to say it? I don't believe in tiers. It's good, it's shit, or decent. This card happens to be, if you want to put it in a tier, shit tier.
Shit tier, boys. Confirmed.
Oh my god. Well, you gotta give the card a chance. You
Yeah,
gotta
give it a chance, Dwayne. You're like you're so critical about
It's a
every single one.
3/5. It kills the Shredder. Come on.
The Kill Shredder, boys.
Come on, dude.
What's up?
Come on. This could be in like a control style of deck. You know, I mean, it could be really good at some
Yeah.
point. We never know.
My thing about it is that typically if you're playing a control or like a grindy thing, you have a lot of value cards that mix like your deck is synergized for a point. All decks are synergized, right?
Yeah.
So if you just put random legendaries in there, like it's just like Clown Fiesta 2.0. Like what the hell are you how do you like
No.
skillfully
Okay, think of it this
close
way.
out the game after that?
If the meta becomes a control meta, like this card could actually be
Dude,
good in
dude, think
control
about
warrior
it.
mirror.
Think about how good your hand is full of Lore Walker Tros, man, and Blood Mage Thanos as a control warrior. That is so fucking smart. And like, let's give my opponents fucking that little dwarf guy. Fucking can't remember. Millhouse Mana Storm, dude. 3 legendaries off the bat. I could continue with the shit legendaries we have in this game.
I
Yeah.
guess.
That card is bad shit tier. Like, we can't make up how this card is good because, like, even if it happens to give us more 7-drop plus minions, like, we can only play 1 per turn and it completely forget all deck synergy. So, the card is shit. Enough said.
We'll see. We'll see.
I kind of like the style of like, you know, piece together a bunch of cards in your deck
Yeah.
and gain a large advantage. You know, similar to like the Exodia from
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh's. You know, if we're gonna do some parallels out here. But I mean, it still doesn't automatically win you the game because there's tons of really shitty legendaries, right? So it's like, even after you get through the whole adventure of finding the golden monkey, like you're still not guaranteed to even get good cards. Like you never know.
You never know. Yeah, RNGs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think it could be fun and it could have its place in a very heavy control meta, like control warrior mirror match,
Yeah.
where you could just get like decent legendaries, even if they're not amazing.
Yeah.
Any threats are better threats than no threats.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Just give your opponent slow walker show going into.
No, but like imagine
Yeah,
turning.
Imagine this is the thing. You think there's more good legendaries than bad legendaries, but there's not. There's so many more shit legendaries that people don't even know about because people are fucking. Excuse my language. I have no idea what cards are in this game, and that's why they think this card is good.
Yeah.
This card is not good, and we should be done rocking with this card.
I mean,
it's terrible.
there's Hemet Nessingway, right? So let's just move on after saying the word Hemet Nessingway. Okay, Entomb. All right, I'm gonna speak on Beast Mode's behalf. I think this card is gonna be crazy. It's gonna change the game. Priest is gonna be top tier, and Entomb is the greatest game card in the game. What do you guys think? It's a 6
if that
mana.
happens, I donate $1,000.
Yeah, Dwayne, you're gonna be broke, bro. You're gonna be broke.
The end of all this thing, Dwayne's offering to give money for it, so like we could just collect money when the expansion comes out.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
I will literally donate $1,000 if this becomes the new priest meta.
Wow.
Okay,
we'll take your
Not
word
bad.
for it then.
Dude, this is recorded,
Siphon
man.
Soul, but
Just
better
choose an enemy
and
min and
worse.
shuffle it into your deck.
Yeah.
It's like a different Siphon Soul.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Not a bad
It's not a
card,
bad
actually.
card. It's very playable.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad people are on drugs.
you can play this on a Savannah High main, dude.
Exactly. That's so easy to remove.
That's like your only good way to clear high main.
Which
actually.
card?
Entomb. You literally take a high main off their board, it doesn't get the death rattle, and you get it in your deck.
Yeah.
That's actually really solid. It's definitely a playable card in Control Priest.
Yeah, definitely control priest. I think so.
Yeah, I was
It's
talking.
comparable to Siphon Soul, which is still playable.
Right.
Even
I think it's
Fringe
better
as a
than-
one of.
Siphon Soul in some situations as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better than Cypher. So I think that like if you try to compare it to Recycle from Druid, it's not a very
It's not
fair.
even-
It's not a very fair comparison because of the amount of other removals that priests have.
It doesn't kill the
And-
minion. Oh, sorry.
Right, and yeah, and it. I don't know, like Druid in
Druid's
general.
also not a control class, though. Like,
Exactly.
you're playing mid-range Druid, or you're playing aggro Druid. You're not playing control Druid. A card like Recycle, I don't think it would be bad in Priest.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's
I mean,
really good.
like Taunt Druid exists.
Like death rattles don't affect this card. Like,
Exactly.
Right. It just takes the card and pulls it, put it in your deck. Nothing. It just
That's what I love about it. But I mean, if you're playing as a face hunter, it's pretty much a dead card, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't spend 6 mana against a face hunter or against a mech mage.
Sure.
I'm glad that we are all thinking this meta will turn into an aggro meta and like pixel fairies will fly in the air and like, rainbows will start shooting out of the stars because like it's gonna become a control meta, which will never happen. But yeah, after all the
Okay,
inspirational talk.
but it might not. It might not right now, but it might in the future. Whether that's a year from now or something, this card will be playable at some point.
It's gonna be
There are
played.
these things called tournaments, which look a little different from ladder.
Yeah.
I watch tournaments all the time, and it's not a control meta in tournaments either.
I know.
It's really
Like,
not. It's not at all.
well, like look at
Let me
look
put
at the
it this
world
way.
champ.
Let me put it this way. Someone got the top 8 BlizzCon using every cancer deck known to man.
Right,
Control meta.
because he didn't hit a stacker or dice. Meta rotates when people come up with good ideas.
I
Like
mean,
a good idea is run full anti-aggro like a stacker or dice. A good way to beat anti-aggro is to run full control.
okay. Let me put it this way. If you watch their games, their decks were beating matchups they shouldn't beat. Like,
Yes.
like you can't say that would be consistent. You can't take tournament plays consistent on it's a control meta in tournament decks. And people are not going to run this deck in tourney. If someone wants this deck that's a top player in tournaments, I will give that player $100 right now.
How many? Okay, this is all recorded.
Yeah. We're gonna do a tally after
How
this.
you like $100 to $1,000 degree of confidence? Like, sure that none of this will ever happen.
And win in a
That's a lot
tourney?
of things. You're probably wrong about some of that.
What am I wrong about? Please explain to me. What card that I've said is good that I'm wrong about? Please elaborate to me.
I mean, you've like named all of them.
Yeah, literally all of
them.
Please name to me how I'm wrong and how my logic is wrong. Please explain it to me.
Because you can't know whether your logic is right or not. That's why it's wrong.
Okay, just tell me how you can play the other cards differently in the meta.
You can't. You might not be able to right now. That's why it might be viable in the future.
Yeah, when new expansion comes out in 4 months. I talk. These cards that we've talked about, only 2 of them are half decent in the meta.
That's arguable.
Shit, and I don't know
Definitely debatable.
That's
defend
very arguable.
it like I think people are just being retarded if they think otherwise. But that's my opinion.
I'm being
They're
open-minded.
not necessarily defending the cards being good or bad right now. They're just saying they have potential.
Yeah.
Like a card having potential doesn't mean it's good or bad. It means it has a cool or unique effect
never
in the
know.
game.
Until they are played.
Exactly. Here,
We'll never
Dwayne,
know.
you can rip this card to shreds, alright? It's a 5-mana 6/3 with Battlecry Discover a spell for a mage. Alright? So, will this card ever
Tell
be
us how bad
seen?
it is.
Do I even need to say it?
Yes, you do, bro. How much money? How much money will you pay somebody to play this in a tournament?
Like, is there any? I don't even need. I don't even need to say anything. I'm pretty sure people will talk for itself on how useless and shit that is.
Good lord.
Okay.
Oh man. Well, keep in
I
mind.
think there's a valid question of like, is this like in what situations would you prefer this to Azure Drake? Because it's a really similar role, right? So like, where could this be better than Azure Drake?
It's way too slow for Tempo Mage and Freeze Mage. You have so many other better 6 drops that you'll never use this card.
I agree that it'll never fit in Freeze Mage, but like people run Azure Drake and Tempo Mage
But
as like
that's a 5 drop.
Yeah.
This is also a
This is
5-drop.
also a 5-drop. Yeah.
But it's a more sticky minion and it gives you spell power.
like 3 versus 4. Okay, fair.
That's
But it
a,
also
huge,
has
that's,
to
a,
work.
what? That's a huge difference. I could trade in Juggler into this. I could trade in Flame Imp into this. I could Frostbolt it. I could weapon it with my Hunter weapon. I could do a shit ton of things to 3-weapon that I can't do to a 40.
Yeah.
Health minion.
That's true. But there are.
I can only Flame Cannon this or waste a Fireball on this on Azure Drake. I can continue.
Yeah.
I don't know. This card seems fun. It's like a casino mage card.
Yeah. Casino Mage boys.
Casino Mage card.
It makes a casino. It's like if you want to make a full casino mage, you gotta play this over Azure Drake. Because
Exactly.
this is more casino magey.
Yeah.
You discover a random spell.
Yeah, but you
You
can
have to
pick
see
which
what
of those
side
3
you're
random spells you
Yeah,
want.
you
You
can
know.
pick.
So it's a more consistent.
Right. That's what I mean. Like you get to pick. It's like, but it also gives you like a spell from the game. So it's like a spell slinger that costs more.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not a
But
spell slinger
it's
that gives
not
you
as
deadly
random.
poison or something. They're all going to be spells that a mage would have, and almost like which mage spells would you not want to have? Besides maybe secrets. Even secrets might not be that bad. Actually, probably.
It doesn't. It's definitely probably not going to be played, but I
Yep.
think that it has some potential.
Dude, I'm so glad we're full of dreamers in this chat. Like, all of the ways it possibly
I'm
could
being
be better.
optimistic.
Like,
Yeah.
so optimistic.
Alright, let's move to the next one. Every Fin is awesome. This is a Shaman card that buffs all of your minions by 2/2 and costs 1 less for each Murloc that you control. So obviously you're never going to spend this card in any type of deck that's not Murloc.
Yeah.
And in a Murloc Shaman card, Shaman deck, would you guys think that this will have some play?
I think that this card is very like it could be really good if it wasn't a shaman card
Yeah.
and it was like in a different class that Murlocs are somehow good in. But the effect is just so cool and unique.
It is.
Mhm.
And I think it like a flood Murloc deck that then can buff your Murlocs. Like that's so cool. But I don't think I'll ever see play because it's a shaman card.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad you guys believe in Murloc Paladins.
I mean, there is that.
Murloc
There is
Shaman.
that four drop for 2/5. That if a Murloc dies, you draw a card in Shaman.
Dude, let's all make Murloc. Dude, I'm gonna make a Murloc deck right now.
We'll make it. I think it's just a nerf to Spellslinger, to be honest.
Okay.
I
There you
mean,
go.
keep in mind,
It's a small nerf to Spellslinger, that's for sure.
it gives all your
Like,
minions,
I'm
including
saying the effect
totems.
is fun. I'm not like I think when I talk, Dwayne, I think I'm thinking these cards are good
Yeah.
or bad, but I think that it's a cool effect, and
Yeah.
like we're analyzing a card is not necessarily just saying whether it's good or bad or playable or not playable. I
Right.
think you have to talk about the interesting things about the card.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think about all these situations and think about the percentiles of getting that situation. And, like, let's talk about why everybody doesn't play Compressor Putrist like they did at the beginning when they thought, oh, it's a cool esports card. And people made their little YouTube videos about that shit. And then they realized how bad it was. Because
Okay.
the percentage of legendaries that were shit were bad.
This is nothing like that though. This is like flood the board, then you ruin the game with Murlocs. I don't know. It
Dude,
sounds
but
like it could be.
But how good are Murloc Synergy right now compared to anything else?
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, like Murloc Synergy isn't strong now, but that's like not the point. It's like an interesting card that has potential.
Alright,
Okay, yeah, I
let's-
agree.
Let's go to the next card. It's Excavated Evil. It's a priest card, and it deals 3 damage to all minions, including your own, and then it shuffles this card into your opponent's deck. So, another AoE spell. It's not a combo piece like Akanai Circle,
Yeah.
and shuffling it into your opponent's deck could actually really slow down an aggro deck that's like trying to top deck damage. This doesn't do any
Yeah.
damage to the face. So, Dwayne, how would you feel if somebody plays this card against you and your face hunters?
I mean, if I'm at the point where I have a full board control, if a priest has a situation where I have a full board by turn 5 against them, and they don't do some funky shit like Power Man to me, I mean, sure, I'd care, but in the reality of the situation, on turn 5, I don't really care if they do a 3/3, because that's just as annoying as holding over to me. It's just the worst holding over because it kills their creatures as well. So, I mean, I'm fine with that, because by turn 5 as a face hunter, well, let's be honest, your opponent better be close to dead, especially if it's a priest. Or you're gonna get your ass kicked anyways.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is like a worse holding over light bomb.
Okay.
I
But
see it.
yeah, that's all it really is just the worst holding over light bomb.
Right. I think that like if it was like put this
Patron.
card on the top of your opponent's deck or something like that, it would be okay. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting. It was put it on your opponent's deck because that basically, if you're like a control priest, they basically lose their whole draw step, which would be really cool. I wish that was it.
Actually, to be honest, I'm thinking about it more. I would like that card if a priest played it against me as a face hunter. It
Why?
has to move their bullshit taunts, like their 2/4 annoying crap, or like the Death Lords. I would love if they did that, actually. So yes, I consider this a top tier card for helping aggro decks win.
That's 5 cost. I mean, it's kind of expensive.
Alright.
Thank you.
So we have like this little baby buff hat card, Explorer's Hat, which looks like it's a hunter card. Give a minion +1/+1, and Death Rattle, add the hat back to your hand. So it's a very weak buff for 2 mana that basically never goes away.
Yeah.
Is Control Hunter ever going to be a thing? If it is,
No.
will they ever use this card?
No.
if Control Hunter is ever a thing, this card is really cool. The effect is like nothing else in Hearthstone
Yep.
because it stays forever. It's similar to like what's that
Head
Pokemon
crack.
that always comes back to your hand.
Crack.
Head crack.
Yeah,
It's similar
crackhead.
to like head crack.
You have to be a crackhead to play head crack.
I have a question. Remember when Control Warrior was a thing before when people thought Malagos Warrior Hunter was a good thing? Because Lothar played it and couldn't get to Legend with it? I feel like that's the same ideology here where we're dreaming that Hunters can be a control class and like they suddenly all of their hero powers turn into healing spells with their new 1/3 that new 1/3 card, right? That's the synergy we're talking about. So we make this Hunter like we play the turn 1/3 and then we get a healing or armor up power
Hmm.
assuming RNG goes all of our sides so far, and
Yeah.
then we get to this card, and then we're just like, ha ha, I'm a control hunter now. Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm not saying it's a good card. I'm saying it's like nothing else we have in Hearthstone. And the fact that they're willing to explore mechanics like this means that they might print other cards that are similar but better in the future.
Yeah. I like that. And imagine putting this hat on a genie. You'll get 2 hats on that genie, bro.
Yeah, you had some.
Dude, they could wear one backwards
That's
and
not
one
talking.
forwards, and one sideways and one the other side. Dude,
Yeah.
two
You
hats.
just have like one hat like
You have
that, one
4
hat like
hats.
this.
Yeah, swagger.
Let's think of the wackiness.
Pimp out all of your
Be
minions.
real wacky.
Real wacky. All right.
There you go.
How about Baby Tazdingo, Fierce Monkey, a 3/4 beast with taunt. It's a
Alright.
warrior card.
The 2/4 that discovers the minion is just so much better. It's
Yeah.
like I don't like this card.
But this is warrior only.
This is a warrior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
That makes it worse.
No, man, warrior beast.
I found it really funny. Like out of all the cards you guys call shit, I mean that I call shit, you consider them good. But the first card that I consider half decent for a warrior, because they have absolutely no turn 3 drop at the moment.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you say this card is bad?
I didn't say it's bad.
No, I didn't say it was
better, but we didn't
No,
say it was bad.
Frothing is better in patron warrior. You don't want Frothing in a control warrior.
Hmm.
I don't think you'd play this in a control warrior either. You'd rather have Acolyte.
Mid range.
I mean, bolster. Taunt warrior.
Well, to be
Yeah,
fair-
okay,
to be
that's
fair,
actually a really good
actually,
point.
Actually, not to mention, a lot of warriors are starting to take out their draw mechanics because they simply don't need it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a lot of
I
decks don't even run Acolyte anymore.
And you could put this right after an armor smith too.
Not to mention, with King's Defender could finally get some use now instead of being a shit weapon.
Exactly.
So could Bolster as well. So no, I think this is actually one of the first decent cards we've talked about.
Okay, Duena.
Yeah, there you
Duena
go.
is pleased. Nice.
I think there could be a mid range warrior.
Yeah.
With this
Mid-range
card.
warrior. There we go. Finally, right?
I believe in mid-range warrior. I was playing that. That shit was fun.
There we go.
Yeah, it
Mid
could
range
be.
warrior.
Could be fun. What about beast warrior? Is it ever a thing or no?
No.
Okay. On to the next. Forgotten Torch. I was talking to Shavek, and he thinks he's gonna run this in every single mage ever. It's a 3 mana, deal 3 damage, targetable, right? And then shuffle a Roaring Torch into your deck. That is another 3 mana card that does 6 damage. So
Really? I think. I don't know. I think this card is like meh. It's okay.
Man, are you fucking?
It's
are you fucking kidding me?
This card is great.
This card is amazing. Are you? I don't
I think
even
it's
know what
okay.
I don't even know what to say. Think about it. This card is potentially better in Freeze Mage than Fireball because Freeze Mage
Yeah, it's
don't need Fireball early game.
It's definitely really interesting in Freeze Mage.
yeah,
I like it.
it adds it
Like in
into your
Tempo Mage,
deck.
I think something like Spellslinger might be better, but
I wouldn't run that card in Tempo Mage, but Freeze Mage that's like game breaking in my opinion.
There are
Yeah.
times where
You
you
get a 3 mana Fireball. That's even better synergy as well with
exactly,
Archmage.
and
we could even see
sometimes
some type of like burst mage. Like a long time ago, there was like this deck that's starting to make somewhat of a comeback. It's like Tiller Slush Drill or whatever used to run it.
yeah.
And it was like an aggro deck that
Oh,
Oh,
what
okay.
happened?
Hold on, let me do the call again. I don't know. It keeps going on hold. All right, hold on. One sec.
This could be an
Yeah, we're like halfway through these cards, guys, so we're gonna try to speed it up. Anybody there? Alright, I'm just gonna keep talking about this card for now. Basically, I think that it'll be good in like a tempo mage as well. Ray was talking about it being in a Tiddler or Celestial mage that basically before it was like a lot of like freeze novas and stuff like that that um basically
Like
yeah
a face mage.
yeah face mage something like that. Um, let's see if we can get this Skype call back up. Bear with us, guys. Bear with us 1 second.
Face mage. Is this one?
Yeah, I mean it adds it to your deck, and like having another set of fireballs, it's by itself is ridiculous value. Like it's amazing. And what I wanted to say earlier is that there's sometimes that it's like you're on a turn 3 and you use a frostbolt to deal 3 damage.
It's like really feels bad sometimes.
Yeah, it feels bad, and then this one makes you feel less bad about doing that.
Crash or something.
Yeah. All right, I think we're good now. It might be like a Skype update thing, but
It's only happening with you. I'm not getting disconnected. Nobody else.
Should we
Well, I
start?
didn't get disconnected. I got a phone call.
maybe that might have to something to do with it.
But that's
I gotta share
it.
We're gonna share the screen again.
Yeah, let me share the screen again. So let's try to get through these a little bit faster, just for the sake of sanity here.
And I need to start setting up for my show match as well because it's within an hour. I
Oh.
don't have decks.
Right. Okay, we're almost like halfway through this. So, all right. So Forgotten Torch, pretty good card. How about this one? Fossilized Devilsaur. If you control a beast, gain taunt.
How many?
8 for an 8/8. That's
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah,
That's
tell
really-
whatever about this.
That's literally a worse the druid card that's an 8/8 with taunt.
I'm
Iron
glad we agreed that this card is shit. I thought I was
Yeah.
used to fighting
Shit
it.
card next.
shit card next. All right. I typically didn't want to do that, but since we're like a little short on time,
No, but that's like not playable.
it's definitely playable in a beast warrior.
Dude, Beast Warrior is a better concept than half of the people I've heard tonight, so I'm willing to take that into consideration after what I've heard.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Arena has gotten so many solid cards in the last 2 expansions.
It really has gotten a lot of good cards.
Okay, next.
Yeah, let's move to the next one.
Where did you go?
Okay. Okay. All right. So okay, next one. You guys still there, right?
Discover a mech.
Yeah, it's a 4 mana 3/4.
Entirely wait on this one because he was the expert on this sort of deck.
What's up?
Is Duena here? Duena?
Yes, I'm here. What's up?
Okay, so we have a 4 mana 3/4 mech, a neutral mech. That battle cry. If you control another mech, discover a mech.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Could be okay. It just puts it into your hand, so it's not like you have to draw another mech, and you have to choose between the mechs. So you might have one that's better for your situation. But 4 mana 3/4 is a little bit lacking. Like you want it to be a 3/5 or a 4/4 or something.
Yeah.
The effect is
Gorillabot into Gorillabot into Gorillabot Dream.
Yep. There you go. Infinite value, boys.
At least you can pick the mech, right?
That's so good. Infinite Gorilla Bot.
Infinite Gorilla, boys. Let's move on to Huge Toad. It's a 2 mana 3/2. The death rattle is deal 1 damage to a random enemy.
It's comparable to Flame Juggler.
Right.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah, a reverse flame
I think
juggler.
it's a worse flame juggler.
Yeah.
It is a tribal. It has a beast, so something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Like a beast hunter, like a solely beast hunter, could be really interesting. But I think King Zealot is probably just better. It
Yeah.
has the potential to draw you a card, which is probably better than deal 1 damage.
Interesting line.
Oh my gosh, the Skype call, please.
I think because
Yeah,
He
it has something to do with
disconnected.
Duena. Yep.
Okay, so
Alright.
probably next card.
Yeah, next card. Basically, Rip and Pepperoni is Bloodfin Raptor, right?
we gotta switch. We gotta share.
Okay, so the next one is the Jeweled Scarab, which is the first card that they released or revealed. It's a 2 mana 1/1 that discovers a 3-cost card.
I really, really like this card because okay, so compare it to like Novice Engineer, but instead you fill out your curve correctly.
Right.
It might not actually be good because Novice Engineer is not a good card,
Hmm.
but it's a beast that fills out your curve.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is a beast. It does fill your curve out, and it's something that the mid-rangey, control-y archetype of hunter does get buffed by this card. Um, it adds it to your deck as well. I just love the discover mechanic. Like it could be an OP card, and it's a 3-cost card. It's a neutral. It could be a spell. Like who knows what you can get from this?
Exactly. I mean,
Could be very interesting.
I think the sort of deck that can safely play 1/1s on turn 2
Yep.
needs to have a really strong, like, late
Can you
game
guys hear me?
clear.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
And I don't know what this goes in that does that.
Yeah, I don't know what this would go in, but it's definitely a card that could see play if the right deck is invented.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a mid-rangey beast deck, but we'll see.
Maybe Shaman.
Maybe shaman. So
Beast Shaman.
Yeah,
Shredder nerf.
shredder nerf.
Oh, another Shredder nerf. Yes, so gets a 1/1 for 2.
Shredder Nerf. Okay.
Shaman is a good point, because it is just 2 mana 1/1 battle cry, draw lightning storm.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
there you
good. Let's move to Jungle Moonkin. It's a druid card, 4 mana 4/4 that has both players have +2 spell damage. I think that's the first time we see spell damage given to an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool because you can build your deck around spell damage, whereas your opponent most likely hasn't.
Right.
But I don't think it will be good. But the idea is interesting that you can build your deck towards something that also gives your opponent advantage. But because it gives your opponent an advantage, it gives you more advantage.
Yeah.
Right. The 4 slot is kind of interesting in Druid, right? You want to have Shredders there, but besides Shredders and like maybe you also had the Firelight Teachers. Not too much to put in that slot. Well, actually, no. You have Savage Combatant, right? That's also
Sanjin.
4.
Yeah,
So
like this card is definitely not going to see play, but it's the idea of it is interesting.
I mean, Moonfire is OP, right?
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Maybe it's the new addition to Mally Goes Druid you've been looking for.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
it's
That's awesome.
it's the answer to my dreams. I'll be sure to make a good deck and have Dwayne pay me a bunch of money for playing it. All right,
This card.
Keeper of Uldaman. This one's actually sick, man. A 4 mana 3/4. Again, not the greatest stats, but the battle cry is to set a minion, any minion's attack to 3 health and health as well. Attack and just makes it a 3/3. It's a paladin card though.
So it's like a more interesting Aldor, right? Like, because you
Mhm.
can use it on your own Silverhand recruit and make it an actual threat, even though. Because some people play like Quartermaster for 1 minion,
Right.
right? So, like, this is a different kind of that, but it can also set your opponent's cards to 3/3 that are like stronger. Like, you can make a Doctor Boom a 3/3, which could be good for you, or you could make your own Silverhand recruit a 3/3.
Right.
Or you can keep your opponent's Shredder from trading evenly with this.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean,
like that's legitimate. Like I think this
That's
card could
legit.
legitimately see some play.
Yeah, I expect it to see a lot of play.
right. Shavek was talking to me about it. He thinks that it'll be a 2 of in every mid-range paladin list. It's definitely versatile. I definitely like the concept of it. And yeah, buffing that 1/1 to a 3/3 on 4 is pretty good. It's like you could think of it like a more versatile Houndmaster almost, in a way. I don't know. We'll see.
I like it.
Definitely like it. Mounted Raptor. It's a Druid card, a 3 mana 3/2, and the death battle is to summon a random 1-cost minion.
So it's like that a beast card, but it's worse.
Right, it is a beast. So beast druid got a little bit of a buff, I guess, and druid archetype for aggro. I think this is good. It's like a better harvest golem,
I think it's
Um,
a worse Harvest Golem.
think so.
Yeah, the 3/2 to 2/3 is like. Oh, I think 2/3 is just better for 3 mana, and I think that the 2/1 is most likely going to be better than the 1 drop.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a valid point.
it's like a weaker shredder.
Sometimes you get your drink fall beer though.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's true, and it'll have full health and everything like that. I think that it. I think it will see play in aggro druid. We'll see. Because
Maybe
yeah.
aggro druid will, Right.
All right, we got a
Cute card.
we got a cute little Murloc.
Another Murloc.
Another Murloc. It's a 0-mana 1/1, and it's a Murloc. All right, next card.
Come on, man.
Dude,
This-
that's not
You can get that from
man.
Neptulon now,
I'm telling you,
sucks.
Shaman Murloc.
Yeah, it's a
OP.
it's a nerf to Murloc Knight. It's a nerf to Neptulon. It's a nerf to Wisp.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody have something to say or?
It's a Murloc. Its name is Murloc Tiny Fish.
That is definitely a card.
It's a
That's
card.
a card.
It's a card. Alright, a priest card. It's a 2-mana 1/1 Museum Curator. The battle cry is discover a death rattle card.
I think that's really,
Oh, no, it's a
really
1/2.
interesting as a priest card. Because it being a 1/2, you're now almost comparing it with like the novice engineer
Right.
before it got nerfed.
Right.
Mhm.
So it can actually potentially trade with like
2/1
against
drops.
Paladin, you can trade with 2/1/1s.
Right.
Against like I don't know. In the random death rattle card is obviously like, or the discover death rattle card is obviously random to some degree, but
Yeah.
you could get something really good off of it. So I think it has potential.
It does.
Right, and keep in mind that there's outside of Wormcrest Agent, there's nothing good to play on too. Like,
Yeah.
as a priest,
Yeah.
there's no good. So I like that it fills that slot, that mana slot for priest,
For
and
priest.
not necessarily only dragon priest. So I mean, Death Rattle Priest was very, very strong, you know. Back in the day, back in its glory day, the Zetalot, whatever. And there are a decent amount of Death Rattle synergy cards in the list that of the new cards. So
I think this could be played in control priest.
could see some play in Control Priest. Keep in mind that if for whatever reason your opponent can't kill it, you can buff it with Valence Chosen and stuff like that, and actually make it something. So.
Yeah.
You know, could see some priests play, so pretty excited for that one.
Yes.
We got some Naga,
Doctor 5.
Dr. 5, we
Kind
got
of.
some Nagas,
Kind of.
Your cards cost 5.
Naga Sea Witch. It's a 5-mana 5/5. Your cards cost 5.
That's
Every
so
card.
interesting.
Think about this, guys.
Imagine the combos.
It's mana cost manipulation, right? So you always have to take that with a grain of salt. You never know what kind of crazy deck will come out that you'll be able to use this card. But hypothetically, if it's not dealt with right away, you can like rag next turn. You can use that artifact card next turn. You can use the other artifact that you get from the artifact the next turn.
Wait, so let me blow your mind for a second.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Play this into Aviana, and what happens? Do your cards cost 1 or do they cost 5?
I think Aviana's effect trumps it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I was thinking about that too. I have no idea, but I don't even know. I have no idea, man. It would. I mean, if you do play it, would it be like in a ramp style druid deck, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting card. I don't know. I think it probably has the stats are too weak and it's probably too slow, but it's definitely an interesting card.
Well, 5/5 for 5. Same thing as Lotheb. Not terrible. It contests emperors and Sylvanas and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, not really Sylvanas because then you don't get it to use its effect really, but.
Yeah.
I guess on turn 10 too, you can kind of compare it to like the dragon card
Mhm.
that costs 5 and makes your dragons lower. But like, so you could play this on 5 with Ysera, so like
True.
you could fit
Okay.
more cards in on turn 10 as like a druid, whereas normally you'd only get to play 1 threat. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Definitely a ramp style.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be played on.
Yeah, obviously it's
Many
not an
other
aggro.
things.
It's not an aggro card.
Yeah, dude.
So Dwayne
I mean,
probably
it's
doesn't
also
like.
your cards in general. So like, you could play this and then play lay on hands or something.
Exactly.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
That's
Or like, so
amazing.
you could play this and then you could play what's the Murloc card?
Oh, anything can happen, bro.
Yeah, holy
Dude,
crap.
anything-
Yo, anything can happen. That would be crazy.
All right.
Alright.
Card.
We got an arena card here, a 7/7/7. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Scarab with Taunt. It doesn't have any tribal or anything, and the effect is the same thing as like a Huffer or no Hogger. Taunt, and it's a warrior card, so whatever, bolster, BS. But realistically, are any of you guys ever gonna run this over your Doctor Booms?
Probably
It's
not.
like a worse Doctor Boom. You
Right.
get
Yeah.
1/1 with taunt instead of 2/1/1s that deal 1 to 4 damage when they die.
Yeah. So
So
for
it's-
arena, it's absolutely like an amazing card.
Yeah.
Oh, for Arena, it seems Arena definitely is getting a lot of good cards.
Yep. Sure, for Powering will be very happy.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright. Next one, we got Pit Snake. It's a rogue minion, rogue 1-drop, a 2/1, and it destroys any minion that has been damaged by this minion.
Pretty
So-
much, what is that 2/3 called? The snake.
Yeah, like an Emperor Cobra for
Emperor
1
Cobra.
mana.
It's a worse Patient Assassin, I think. It's too vulnerable
It
to
is.
like hero powers and stuff. I think it's bad.
Yeah, it could just get pinged off, stuff like that.
Maybe it's good in Arena, but even then, like, you're still gonna just get pinged off. If it had stealth, I think it could be good, but
Yeah, but I mean, it has
Okay.
Beast instead, yeah.
If it had stealth, that's really OP.
I think if it had stealth, it'd be good.
Is there any 2/1 Beast for 1?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't think so, but I still don't. It's a rogue card, so it doesn't matter.
It does matter, man. Yo, Beast Rogue.
Beast.
Right.
Raven Idol.
Raven Idol.
This is a Druid card, and it's just choose one, discover a minion, or discover a spell for 1 mana.
I think it's really bad because it's too random, but it's okay. Think of it like that priest card, Mind Vision or whatever,
Right.
except even more random.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're probably, I don't know, it's not worth it. You'd rather have a card that's you'd actually rather play in Druid.
It's
than that in
it's
your
a
hand.
casino warrior. I mean, a casino
That's
druid
what I was
buff.
gonna say.
But
Right. Casino Druid boys.
typically you're gonna want to be ramping up if you're playing druid. There's a lot of times where you pass turn 1 as druid, and adding a card to your deck as druid is pretty good, especially since it goes straight into your hand. There's a lot of times where after you're ramping up, you don't have anything to do. So maybe you want like a deadly poison in your hand. Who knows?
Okay.
But no, it's discover, so you can pick, right? So like, if you don't have any minions in your hand, maybe you want to have a random minion, or it's basically just like I think it's their way. It's Blizzard's way of trying to make a consistent RNG card
Yeah.
that you can sort of have decisions over, because it's not
But
completely
this is
random.
Dwayne, so I'm just gonna go right out and say it. This card's shit.
All right,
Nice.
nice. This card's shit. Almost done with these cards, guys. So this one, we wish we had Dwayne for this one. Reliquary Seeker. It's a 1 mana 1/1 for Warlocks. That battle cry. If you have 6 other minions, aka the rest of your board is filled up, you gain +4/+4.
Right, this card is even shittier than the last one.
Yeah, even shittier. I was talking before about swarm archetypes, having like a full board of minions being kind of cool. It's
Yeah,
you know,
but by the time you have that, you'd probably rather just have like a shredder or something that actually
Exactly.
yeah.
is more mana. Like if you're spending 1 mana for a 5/5, like it's not even good.
Right.
Like at that point in the game where your board is full, like you'd rather just play a card that's better, like shredder
Right.
or anything else.
Yeah.
Just.
Oh, maybe it's a nerf to that new 2/2 that gives you a 1 card.
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
that's true. That's true.
That's
To
true.
balance
Or
that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Reno Jackson. 6 mana 4/6. Pretty shitty stats, but battle cry. If your deck contains no more than one of any card. Fully heal your hero.
So build your deck
I'll
around
point
this
that out for
card.
you, but freeze mage.
Freeze mage.
Yeah, it could be really
Mage.
interesting in freeze mage, like late game, heal yourself to full
Yeah.
after you've drawn all your 2-ofs and stuff. It's gonna actually, this card takes a lot of skill, in my opinion, if you're not using like a deck tracker or something.
Oh yeah,
like in
yeah.
tournaments, to be able to remember everything that you've played.
Right.
Like as a freeze mage, I think this card is really interesting and could see play in very
Interesting.
niche
Wow.
archetypes.
I sort of like it as an arena savior card, maybe. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Fully healing your hero sometimes it's not even that great. You know, like it's very hard to see where this card's gonna come in play, but you can get it from Golden Monkey. And I think I'll stop the sentence there.
Let's think
Okay.
about this.
Next card.
Next card.
Wait, guys.
Oh.
Does it count like when you're like fatigued? Like you can play that and restore your health for
Keep that in mind, boys. You saved
free.
this.
Milrogue.
Milrogue, Fatigue
Exactly.
Warrior, where you're, a couple of health off of winning the Fatigue War, and you're holding this in your hand,
That's a Milrogue card, dude.
Milrogue.
No, it would be no. Next card. Next
Come
card.
on, dude. Come on.
Next card.
I actually kind of like this next card. It's a Shaman card, a 4-mana 2/6. I wish it was a 3/6, but after you play a Battlecry minion, deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
After you play a Battlecry, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So we could see like Battlecry decks, like that other legendary card. I don't know. I don't think it'll be competitive, but I think it will be a fun deck that people will try to make and then climb with, and it will be easy wins on the ladder for about a week.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, Sacred Child, another Paladin secret. When your opponent has at least 3 minions and plays another, destroy it.
When your opponent has at least 3 minions and plays another, destroy it. That's really interesting.
Right.
I think it could be a really... Oh, man. It's another Paladin secret, so Mysterious Challenger maybe gets better, but... I don't know. That's like... Oh,
I think that
card needs like
Mysterious
testing
Challenger.
before
No,
we
because you
make
don't
it.
have to put it in your deck, right? It's
Oh,
not,
yeah, exactly.
it's not necessarily a Mysterious Challenger
Okay.
nerf. But, I mean, destroying a card that gets put down on the field, there's not any card like that yet. Snipe only does 4 damage. Vaporize, you have to attack in. So when you're trying to figure out what secret it is, maybe you have like a muster for battle up, and then you want to play like some other random minion to, I don't know. See, I'm not sure. Who knows?
I think it needs to be tested. But,
Definitely.
right.
It's like one of those MC Tech cards.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Next card.
Interesting.
Okay, this is definitely one of the most interesting cards of the whole entire set. Sir Finley Merlington, and he changes your hero power. So discover a new hero power, and it's 1 mana 1/3.
So, your deck
So
actually.
Finley Merlington.
Yeah.
Merlington.
So this is one of Beast Mode's favorite cards. He thinks that it can single-handedly change an archetype of a deck. I don't think it's so easy because it is a legendary that you can only have one of, and you might not draw it early, so it's hard to base a deck around it.
Yeah.
I think it's just another good Murloc card that is going to be played in Murloc decks. Whether they're going to be competitive or not, I don't know, but it's just another good Murloc card.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
I like that it's in the game.
Yeah, I like it. It's in the game. There's some possibilities with it.
Yeah, it could be some cool stuff.
Yeah, like any Murloc deck getting the Warlock hero power is going to be insane.
Oh yeah,
Wow, there you
But
big
not
time.
necessarily insane, even. It's just going to be like a good card.
Any other deck that has the Murloc card, the Murloc hero power will just be insane.
Yeah.
Alright, so Summoning Stone into neutral, 5 mana, 0/6. I hate having 0 attack minions, but
yeah,
whenever you cast a spell, summon a random minion of the same cost.
that's
Oh wow,
really
that's really
enrolling.
interesting card, but
Yeah.
it's 5 mana, so it's probably gonna just be bad. But
Right.
Think about
if it was less mana, that could be really interesting.
let's think
It's
about-
like that what's it
Summoning
called? The
Portal?
Tavern Brawl.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were saying that it was similar to. Um, Essentially, yeah, 6 health is not that hard. Like, are you really going to be fireballing this? But how often are you going to be ahead on board that you can just afford to spend like a low impact like card like this? You know?
Like maybe in freeze mage, like on turn 8, you play this and freeze the board, and if it lives, you get like you just continually see clear the board and just get board control off your minions.
That could be a cool, interesting thing. I like this card a lot. Like,
I think it has potential, but I don't think it'll be playable right off the bat. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next card.
Okay, Tomb Pillager. It's a rogue card. 4 mana, 5/4, not bad stats, and the Death Rattle is add a coin to your hand. So I don't think that it's the greatest card at all. The coin is very low impact in terms of generating tempo for yourself.
Probably will not replace like Shredder or.
I'm gonna be the Duena here. Shit card.
Yeah.
Probably will not replace Shredder or Valley Teacher at all.
Right.
It's gonna ramp you as a warlock or a rogue or whatever if that helps. But
I don't know.
I mean, in theory, imagine if Gadgetson comes back. That could actually be really good.
Yeah,
But
that's true. I mean, keep in mind, coin is an activator for the combos, and how happy are you when you have a coin in your hand starting the game as a rogue, right? And it's basically for free. It gives you just a free coin.
Yeah, you can like coin this out and get another coin after.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And they said that they wanted to kind of facilitate more minion-based rogue decks. You never know. You know.
That's interesting. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Tomb Spider, almost done here. Battlecry, discover a beast. It's a 4 mana 3/3 neutral beast. So
I don't know. It's a really interesting card because it discovers a beast, which gives you like it gives you more resources, but
Yeah,
the stats are really unimpressive.
it's not that impressive. Honestly.
right, it's underwhelming stats. If it was a 4 mana 4/4, I think it would be. It might even be a staple in for the 4 slot for like mid-rangey beast decks, but
I don't think so because like I compare it to like it's a Gnomish Inventor as a beast, which I still think is really not that strong.
True.
I mean, I'm trying to think about it. You know, I'm always trying to think about cards that fit mid-range shaman
Yeah,
because I'm that kind of player.
that mid-range shaman.
Maybe I don't know.
No, I think it's bad.
I don't know. You can always flame tongue tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's think.
This is my favorite new shaman card, and I think that shaman's always needed a 1-drop. It's a 1 mana 1/3. Whenever you overload, gain 1 attack per locked mana crystal. So essentially, it's the mirror of a mana worm for shaman classes.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because one, it gives you something besides zombie shot to do on turn 1.
Exactly.
You can like do something wacky like coin feral spirits and then have a 3/3 and 2/3s. Obviously you're overloaded a lot, but the fact that it gives you overload per mana crystal is definitely cool. It's versatile, but it's not OP. And just 3 health is for a 1-drop. 3 health is really good.
It is. I mean, pretty much it could be a 2 attack or 3 attack, 3/3 next turn. But I'm always thinking about this kind of mechanic in Shaman, where you benefit off of overload rather than it gimping your fucking deck.
Exactly.
Like at least they're thinking about overload, like having it benefit you,
right?
Instead of like killing your next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least this card benefits off of it. So.
Yeah,
it's a 1-drop.
You could coin 2 of them out and then use a crackle or something. You could. I think that it's definitely a good card to have in the game. Whether or not it'll see immediate play, I'm not sure. I do always like the concept of having like a tempo mage version of shaman, where you have some early minions that can synergize with the rest of your deck. A lot of burn. Basically, all the burn in Shaman is all overload anyway. So, it could really, and snowball cards in general are awesome, right?
Yeah. Like, you don't want this thing to be up forever. I mean, it's going to take down a fucking Well, sorry, guys. It's gonna might take down like Belcher or something. So
You never know.
you never do know.
Okay, let's go to the unearthed. Oh, do you have Shoop?
Yeah, I just think it is really important to evaluate this in terms of what overload cards you'll be playing and when.
Mhm.
Like, if you're the reason one of the reasons Metal is so good is like they play Knife Juggler into it. The first bullet, they play Knock the Defense Unstable Portal.
Yeah.
We have like Totem Golem and Coin of Feral Spirits and maybe Lightning Bolt.
Mhm.
And I just don't think they'll snowball in time.
Right, but you never really had a reason to carry like Fork Lightning or Lightning Bolt before. I mean, well, Lightning Bolt is sometimes in like some decks, right?
Mhm.
But this card actually gives, I think, a breath of fresh air into Fork Lightning. Like, let's say there's a hyper aggro, meta, and there's often times where you have two little minions on the enemy field on turn 2.
Exactly.
You know, it could actually give you some type of a lead.
What also just opens up Shaman to a 1-drop that they're gonna probably need in the future at some point.
Yep.
As they get more cards anyways, but yeah, I would move on to the next card.
Sure. Unearthed Raptor, it's a rogue card. I actually didn't notice that it's a rogue card. Yeah, this is a rogue card. It's a 3/3/4. Not bad stats. And the battle cry says, choose a friendly minion, gain a copy of its death rattle effect.
That's.
I think that card's really bad. It's like, oh, it's not bad, but like it's so situational. Like you basically have to play a Haunted Creeper and then play that card. So it's too situational in my opinion, but it could be like we could see like a more minion based rogue where like you play that after a Sylvanas and it actually becomes really good
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
if the Sylvanas somehow lives.
Right.
But
Or a noob Arak.
I was about to say the same thing.
oh my god, and Brock.
Would be
Well, I
okay.
will say people have been experimenting with control mode lately. Like, I don't think this is what's going to make it viable. Like, I wish this card was good.
Yeah, me too. I mean, at some point in the world, Blizzard will make a good minion-based shaman possibility.
Yeah.
And little by little, I think maybe, one card in this expansion, one card in that expansion, trade, I don't know, Prince Gallywix, or I don't know, at some point, maybe it'll be okay, but still, it's very underwhelming, right? I think the fact that this is a bro card means it's not that great. Like, if it was a neutral and you could play it on, like, a Savannah High main,
God.
something like that,
It's gonna cause havoc.
Yeah, it could have been crazy, but... let's move on to Wobbling Runts, which is a neutral card. It's a 6-mana 2/6, which is terrible, but the death rattle is summon 3 2/2 runs, which I don't think they have taunt or any type of anything besides
Just
2/2s.
vanilla,
Yeah, but I mean, let's be real. 3 2/2s is pretty impressive. Overall, the stats is like with those 2/2s included, is pretty high for the 6-mana cost. What kind of decks do you guys think that this would be fitting into?
It's like a high main, right? But
Neutral, low impact high main.
Yeah, it could be in like Control Warrior. If could like more, it's
Okay.
not bad against other control decks.
it's not.
6 health is hard to remove, but you kind of want it to be removed, right? Like, it's
Right.
actually not even going to be easy for you typically to kill this unless they have a big minion on the field, at which point, if you're playing a 6/2/6, then you're pretty falling behind.
It's like a Belcher that's worse against aggro, but better against other control.
Yeah, and the 2/2s are, I mean, every class has some way of dealing with 2/2s, pretty
I
easily.
think there's a valid point of like how much play does Karen see?
Right.
Yeah, I think Karen's probably just better.
Yeah. I mean, you could combo with Unearthed Raptor, right? Would be good.
Yeah, Karen, you could also do that as well.
Okay, guys.
I think that's good. That's it.
That's it for now. We went through every single card. Tried to see everything from both sides of the playing field. But I think overall, definitely we said that the large majority of the cards are interesting to say the least. So it's only up to us and you guys to see what actually happens, right?
Yeah.
That's what's the great thing about the Hearthstone meta, is that it's just up to the players to see what happens with it. So
I at least think a lot of the cards have potential.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential in this set. I definitely think that it's a more interesting set than the TGT set.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
and it's less cards. Yeah. So, any of you guys have something to add before we end it?
Nope.
Shoot.
Shoot.
Nope. Nope. Okay, guys. So thanks for joining in.
Thanks, guys.
We're Vicious Syndicate, providing you with that top tier content.
And don't forget, tomorrow is Tuesday night hype.
Yep. We got Tuesday Night Hype coming up, so keep an eye out on that, and we'll see you guys later.
All right, good night.
Peace.